Hello guys, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care, and I have the Ferris Z3X up on the lift for the very first time. I'm doing the first blade change, and wanted to give you guys a look at the underside of the mower, you know, the deck, the hydraulics, that type of thing. It's probably something that a lot of you haven't seen yet, and then I'm going to film changing the blades. From what I understand, it's basically just like changing the blades on my John Deere. They're just a bolt into the spindle, so you don't have the bolt that runs all the way through with the nut on top like you do with Skag, and I'm not sure, I think Wright has that same system. I'm not a fan of that. That's just me personally. To me, it just seems so much easier to take out one bolt, put the blade on, put it right back on, than it does to have to take out an entire bolt and nut. So you literally have to be on top and bottom of the machine at the same time, or the deck at least. So anyway, let's look underneath here. So for one, here are the new blades, identical to the ones that are on it. These are the Ferris Marbane blades. They've got a lift to them. I don't know if those are a medium lift, high lift, whatever. But anyway, that's a look at the blades. So, like I said, that's what's on the mower. We did leaf mulching all day yesterday and hit a bunch of rocks, and so I'm kind of curious to see what these blades are going to look like when I take them off. They really got abused. I guess Thor is going to help me with this apparently, or at least he thinks he is. So anyway, here's a look underneath the deck, and Thor's going to be right in the way. I'll start over here so you can kind of see. You're really, Thor? Oh my goodness, dog. So here's the underside of the deck, and I don't have a mulch kit or anything like that on it. This is all the factory baffling, so you can see the rear wheels. You know, the anti-scalp wheels on the back. See how it all looks on the underside. I mean, this is the stuff that I'm into, guys. I like to see how these machines are put together. You know, anytime I work on something or look at something new, I like to see what they're made of. You know, how they're designed, how they're put together. You know, all that stuff is just intriguing to me. So anyway, there's a look at that. The spindles are really heavy duty, pretty mean actually. I mean, they're really well designed, and we'll see here pretty quick how hard it is to take the blades on and off. So I'm going to get all the way back here as far as I can and show you guys what I can. So here's behind the deck. Here's the hydro. You really can't see the operator platform. I guess you can. This is actually the front of the operator platform right here. This is the very front edge, so you can see where it's got this angled down area where debris and water and stuff could run off. Got a bearing right here, which I think that's a sealed bearing. Yeah, sealed bearing, that's the pivot. So here's the strut, or the spring, shock, whatever you want to call it, that is for the operator area. That is I think that's just kind of an idler pulley right there. I'm not sure. I can't see it very well from my angle. And then here's a look at the hydro on the other side. Identical hydros, it's just a little bit different angle right there. So that's the look of the hydro. They both have a fan on top of them, belt-driven fan. You can see some of the controls running up. There's a ton of clearance between the tire and the hydro and the frame or body. Really beefy setup on those two. I mean, it's a pretty massive hub and axle that comes out. May not look like it in the video, but that axle is about 2 inches in diameter at the smallest point. So they say that you know, any chain or any machine
is only as strong as its weakest link. So if that's the weakest part of the axle right there, at 2 inches, you'd have to seriously mess up to harm that. So anyway, let me back out of here and set the camera up, and we'll get the blade change on film and see how bad that is. I'm gonna try to set you guys up as close as I can. So play around here for a minute and get the camera propped up. That's not too bad. You'll be able to see the first 2 blades. So let me pop those blades off. Okay, I've got my rigid impact that I use on all my blade changes. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, super easy. So it doesn't get any easier than that. That's what I love about that type of system. You don't have to mess with any bolt and nut system. You just pop it off, and the new blade here, pop it right back on. So by the way, if you guys use an impact, what I do, I use the highest setting to pull the blade off, and when I put it back on, I use the lowest setting so that it doesn't get over torqued. So there it is. That's pretty easy. Makes blade change a cinch, guys. So far these blades don't look too bad. These Marbane blades are supposed to be pretty tough, and they don't really look chewed up at all. And I know I hit some rocks and stuff. So. Okay, one more, and then we will take a look at these blades that I just pulled off and see how they look. Alright, let's take a look at these blades. You can definitely tell they got a couple, 2 or 3 hours on them. Polished all of the black, or the bluing that they put on them from the factory. But I see a little nick here. There's a little bit on the corner. You know, the corners are kind of the spots that are hard to keep sharp, because that's where you get the most wear and tear, it seems like. That one's chewed up a little bit more. A few nicks. I'll tell you what, guys, honestly, I was expecting a lot worse. You know, the corners are a bit rounded, but not bad. And that's only on a couple of them. And you can see the nicks. I mean, you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at. It's pretty, fairly deep little gouge right there. But honestly, all in all, those held up pretty well. And I'm not joking about this property we did, guys. It was just pure abuse. I mean, I honestly cringed taking new machines onto this property, because it was an overgrown, neglected property. I should have got it on video, but it was getting close to the end of the day, and we just needed to jump in there and get it done, and I didn't have time to mess with the camera. Plus the owner was out there watching, and you know, I hate to play around with video camera when somebody's, you know, considering me to be on their time. But anyway, we plowed through it. It took us 3 hours to do this cleanup, and it was a wooded area partly, and then partly open. I mean, we had to mow down thorns, you know, briars, small saplings, mulch up leaves, tall weeds. I mean, it was just a combination of a lot of things. But the wooded area, in typical Ozark fashion, was very rocky. And we had the mowers set on 5 inches to try to avoid as much of that as we could. But there were still several times where, you know, you hear it, that thud when you hit a rock, and you see pieces of that rock go flying out from under your deck, and you're just sitting there cringing, thinking, man, I just destroyed that blade. Honestly, I can sharpen these back up and put them back on the mower, and they'll be good for mowing a lawn. Or I may I may sharpen them up and hang on to them for the next time we do a job like that, just so I don't, you know, just so I don't destroy a brand new set. But they did good. So that's the blade change on this thing. That was pretty simple, really. Machine's filthy, dirty. The other thing too, not only was our first day out on the new machines and doing leaf cleanup, which sucks. I really wish I could have been mowing, but we also tried out these quick shoots for the first time, and I have to say they performed. You'll see in the other video that I'll post, probably be posted before this one actually, how the quick shoots performed in deep leaves. And I was kind of curious about this one on the 60-inch because it doesn't quite cover back here, but I really honestly didn't notice hardly anything coming out. I mean, you know, beyond normal. I don't have a mulch kit, and so I was just using standard blades, and so of course you're going to get dust and fine, you know, fine particulates and stuff that come out from under your deck, especially when you don't have tall enough grass to kind of hold on to the leaves, or when you're not just driving through a leaf pile. But really, truly, this thing mulched up leaves better than my John Deere's and or my John Deere mowers, and took a lot of time. In fact, the yard that we've done numerous times leaf cleanup, and it always takes us about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on how bad it is. The leaf cleanup we did was not the worst, but it definitely wasn't one of the easier cleanups we've done on that property, and we shaved a half hour off of that time. It took us an hour and a half. 2 blowers, 2 machines, my son and I, same setup we always use. Took us 2 hours to clean that property up, mulch the leaves, and get out of there. So, so the machines themselves are already saving us time. We did 3 leaf cleanup jobs yesterday, and typically by the time we're done with 2, we're done. You know, we're wore out. We did work for 7 hours yesterday, got 3 jobs done, and made money on everything. So I can't complain, guys. I'm pretty impressed overall with both of these machines so far. So anyway, that's all for now. Get out there and make some money, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.